Josh, are you drinking a 2 liter of Diet Coke?
Hmm. Yep.
Dude, this is the beer episode. You can't drink all day if you don't start at 9 a.m.
Yeah, that's why I'm drinking the Diet Coke.
Huh?
Well, it's not just Diet Coke in here.
My man. All right, crack it. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the What If We podcast. I'm joined by the Big Bone Theologian and myself, Punchki Specialist. Just
We're
kidding.
so gonna get copyrighted for that.
Yeah. Unsubscribe people, please don't sue us. We're just big fans. Moms, if you're listening, don't listen to that. Dads, if you're a fan of military history and questionable humor, go for it.
Go check out the Unsubscribe podcast. Donut
Not a
operated
sponsor,
Warrior,
and definitely won't
Brandon
be.
Ferreira, Eli Double Tap, the Fat Electrician.
King Trout and all the
Yeah,
other
but he's
people.
not like they're not like mainstays. They're not a part of the song.
He's not part of the song. That's right. We need to get big enough so we can have a song for the two of us.
I feel like we definitely could get a third host, and it would be a lot funnier. I just don't know who.
Because one of our friends doesn't think our podcast is professional or good for his image.
I mean, he does enough to damage his own reputation sometimes.
That's fair. We do it enough for him.
No, but I think it'd be really funny if we like had like a friend who like lived across the country, and then we would fly out like once a month and record like 4 episodes together.
That
Like
would be fun.
Like they do with the Unsubscribe podcast. It's literally what they do with Nick.
I know.
It's like they fly him out once a month, record a bunch of episodes.
Yeah, they get a bunch of cool guests to go with it too. It's great. Anyway, we're not that big though, so we'll focus on just the two of us for now.
But the short form content actually did pretty well from what I'm seeing. So yeah, so
we'll have to make sure we'll try to add some more.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at getting some like AI clip generators.
Okay.
That'll go through and make clips and then like put captions and stuff like that. So very easy stuff to work with.
Cool. And we'll try to get some more of the quick fire catechesis up for you all. I guess we should probably do a more proper intro. This actually is the What If We podcast. My name is Andrew.
Yeah. And I'm Yosh, also known as Josh.
And this is What If We, where we ask the question, what if we? Today, we asked the question, what if we got
drank a beer?
Drank 9 beers?
Did we drink 9 beers?
I think I had 8.
I had 2 tokens left, so
I had 2 left. But anyway, we'll get into that.
The funny part of that was like putting the tokens on the water tower
and just seeing them swarm. Yeah, so for part of the catch up / what happened recently, Josh recently had a birthday.
I'm old now.
Yeah, now.
Wow. Listen here, youngin.
Young blood.
Yeah, officially 28 years old. Life is still going. But no, celebrated a birthday.
To celebrate your birthday, we went to the Southern Michigan Beer Fest.
I think that's what it's called. Originally, we were going to go to the Whiskey Festival in Lansing, the Bourbon Festival. But because money is tight, and we were like, oh, we'll just buy the tickets the week of. They were sold out.
And those tickets were also like twice as much.
Yes, those tickets were twice as much. And so then we pivoted to the beer festival, which we went to last year too.
It is the Southern Michigan Winter Beer Festival.
Yes, we need to go to the summer one. But last year we went to the beer festival too. And so it's like
it was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy it last year, and I'm glad we went again this year. I am disappointed that Agma Brewing did not have the Narnar, which was the best beer that I've probably ever had.
Oh man, that Nightmare Fuel is pretty good.
Uh, but yeah, let's so
So how have you
we'll
been?
I'm about to say
What's
we'll
been
get
going
into the
on in
beer
your
fest
life?
in a little bit. I've been good. It is the busy season for the church. We have between St. Mary and St. John, we have 12 new people coming in officially. We finally got the number down, so it's just kind of being crazy and figuring out, all right, whose annulment paperwork is still coming in, and who's gonna make sure, get the catechumens. Well, they're all elect now, I guess. Get their paperwork figured out. It's conditional baptisms and whatnot, so it's a whole mess there. General OCA stuff, parish stuff. Um, Trying to get altar servers scheduled. It's the usual stuff, and on top of all of that, we're trying to get everything squared away. But Father Mike is back, and that's been a huge weight off of Father David. So we are chugging along. We're going to get through Lent, and then Easter's going to be much smoother sailing, hopefully.
Mm.
How about you?
Yep.
How are things? You had an interesting day yesterday at the parish.
Yeah, St. John's is a very old building, and so it's got its unique problems. We had a toilet that was flooding that led to a leak in the basement and just other leaks. So it's just life. We had some rain and stuff like that that led to some different circumstances. But no, it's always it's always a fun time. Yeah, no, just, life is good. It's definitely the busy season. 9 credit hours of grad school, but not enough hours in the day to do it all and
Mm-hmm.
try to relax and try to,
Do your job.
yeah.
Be a
And
boyfriend.
yeah, there's just a lot in life going on right now. But we're nearing the finish line with grad school at least,
Yep.
and so
What do you got? Like a month, about a little over a month left.
something. I mean, actually, I think actually just a month.
Okay, I figure I knew you guys go till about May-ish.
Well, the second weekend of May is graduation, so I'm assuming we'll be done by the first weekend of May.
Nice,
So,
nice.
so got to order cap and gown sometime soon, and get it shipped here.
Miriam ordered hers, and I keep looking at the bank account going lower and lower. I'm like, we still gotta pay back our taxes.
Mm, That's fine.
uh, Taxation is theft. Anyway, what?
Oh
I
man,
wrote
have
that.
you seen
I wrote that on my check last year when I sent it in.
have you seen donut opera or not donut opera fat electrician's rant on Social Security?
Oh yeah,
When I read that and then I saw how much Social Security tax they had taken out of my paycheck and out of Megan's paycheck, I wanted to scream.
yeah. And his one on the tax on tips thing, like every time I see another thing about how stupid taxation is, we're not trying to get political, but taxation is theft. Changed my mind. Um,
Well, honestly, it's not a political thing because like both the left and the right impose taxes.
yeah, it's just on who and what way and all that fun stuff. Um,
Like the
suppose
bigger issue I have is the poor use of tax funds.
yes, Michigan,
And
we have a ton of, like, if you look at the gas pumps, you can see, like, at least in Ohio, I know you can. I think in some places in Michigan, like, it's like this how much is going to local, this is how much is going to state, and it's all funding, like it's supposed to fund roads, and our roads are still terrible.
yeah, Michigan also has some weird tax laws.
Well, that's because of
Like,
our unique location in relation to Canada.
but
But
but yeah,
anyway, that
no,
is not the focus of today's episode.
life has been good. Um, we're also kind of in the busier season, so we've got a lot going on at St. John's
Mm-hmm.
between the next 4 weeks. You know, Holy Week is like just chock full of events. We've got
Oh yeah.
Monday Monday night painting the rock for Holy
Oh,
Week.
for like the like the big rock on
Yeah.
campus. Nice,
Yep.
nice.
So we've got Monday stakeout, right?
The state the school sanctioned graffiti.
Yep. So we've got the Monday stakeout. So students stake out the rock from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then we've got Tuesday outreach on campus, followed by Super Tuesday confessions from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Ooh.
We have like multiple priests coming in for that.
Very nice.
Wednesday, I think, is the only reprieve. Thursday we have Holy Thursday, but that's preceded by the Holy Thursday potluck.
What do you about to say, what do you guys do for your potluck? Because at my home parish, we always did like a big soup supper. That was kind of the big thing. St. John's and St. Mary's don't really do anything for that, which is something I'd like to see change.
Well, so this is the first time I've heard of a Holy Thursday potluck. So that's not a super big tradition where I grew up. Now, with that being said, one of the things I'm going to try to do this year is fast from the end of the Holy Thursday potluck until the Easter Vigil party.
Now, are you going to like fast or just like
bread and water?
Okay. Which is probably smart because it's, basically 2 days at that point.
Yeah, so like I might have like a bagel and water in the morning and then hold off until dinner and then have like some nice hearty like Irish soda bread pieces.
I dig it.
Because like pro tip on fasting with bread and water, do not use store-bought bread. I don't even care if it's like this is a store-bought sourdough loaf. No. It's not hearty enough, it's not rich enough. Like get something that has like whole grains in it, fruit, berries, like
something that's gonna round out your diet, basically.
What a fruitcake.
Yeah. Minus the alcohol. So
like, yeah. Well, I made a beer bread the other day.
Traditional fruitcakes were like soaked in heavy liquor to make them last longer.
Yeah. So like, I'm probably gonna make like a jalapeno cheddar Irish soda bread.
You'd be getting into baking a lot more. Like you keep sprinkling it in like
it's something very easy to do, right?
But not everyone can do it. Like I can't bake for crap.
Well, with Irish soda bread, what's nice is literally it's like you take flour, baking soda, or club soda, either one of those two. Flour, club soda, and you have to use active yeast flour, whatever it is called, self-rising flour.
Yeah. It's got the baking powder and stuff mixed into it.
Yep. After you mix that together, you can literally throw anything in there and then throw it in. Like I use my crock pot to make mine, which is really nice.
Interesting. I've never tried that. I might have to give that a shot.
Because it works basically as a convection oven.
Fair.
But you could use like a normal oven for that. And so, yeah, no. And so then we have 30 people coming into the church for Easter Vigil. 17 of them are students.
How many unbaptized do you have coming in? Do you know?
That's a great question. I'm not familiar with those numbers. That's not an area of my job. That's not an area that I worry about at my job.
Yeah, because we have four. So we have 4 out of 12 are unbaptized, which I think is.
So then we have a resurrection party that night, and then turn around Easter brunch after the 10 a.m. mass, and then I can die in peace.
That empty tomb is gonna have a fresh body in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll myself into that empty tomb in the sanctuary.
I do want to say, my mom was commenting on the last episode, on our Lent episode, and she said, "Is Josh able to do all those things? Because it does seem like he's doing way more than you."
Push yourself. Lent is a time to
go beyond plus ultra.
Well, okay. This is not me saying you're having a wimpy Lent. This is me saying that a lot of people are not actually engaging with Lent the way that like the church is calling us to, right? You go and you read the opening prayers at every mass for Lent, and it talks about Lent being warfare and battle.
Yes. It is supposed to be a time of not just struggle, but there is active suffering involved.
And so my point of this is this simply. If it's not painful and it's not a struggle, probably need to step up your game.
I dig it. I think that's a good way to talk about it.
And so, like, for different people that looks differently, right? Like, for me, oh, there's a blue jay outside. I don't think I've ever actually seen a blue jay. Anyways,
ADD break.
yeah, but like for me, right, physical suffering, right, is not like that big of a deal. Um, right, bang my knee on the table. Oh well, whatever.
We
It's
have
like
learned to embrace the suck pretty well.
Yeah, I think physical suffering is just something I got used to, like growing up on a farm and like
You did work. You've worked for a long time.
yeah, and so now the bigger area of suffering in my life is like, okay, what are those creature comforts that just get in the way that I have to willingly choose? Like, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For me, it's been physical suffering with the being actually consistent with my gym routine. I went 4 days in a row of just like I was like I'm supposed to do legs, and I cannot physically do legs because walking up the stairs is hard. Because I've been really trying to like focus on like doing proper form, progressive overload, like really focusing on like and offering up that pain, like that pain that I'm feeling in the gym, like offering that up and think about like this is something that I'm doing to grow both physically and mentally, spiritually.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it is just like, I said this last time, like fasting without prayer is called dieting,
Mm-hmm.
and prayer without fasting is just self-help sometimes.
Yeah,
But you can't pray without
it,
fasting, but it is that sense of just like prayer without fasting is just talking to yourself because you're not actually engaging with like what do I need to do to become the person that the Lord is calling me to be. And one of the right there's this great idea from Matthew Kelly. I think he misses some of it, but this idea of the biggest lie in Christianity, right, that has been brought up in Christian thought is this idea of just like you can't be holy. And I think there's even a deeper lie in that of like this lie that you can't be perfect, right? Now we can't be
I was just
perfect,
about to say that we just talked about this at OCA last week. Like,
right? This idea of like some people are convinced you can't be perfect, right? And this idea of like, okay, yes, apart from God, you cannot be perfect, right? Jesus even says, apart from me, you can do nothing.
mm-hmm.
But then that element of just like, okay, but even the catechism and even like the documents of the church talk about the Christian life as journeying towards perfection.
Yeah, and it's a different when we think of perfection, we think this like there's one thing that they talk about like at school, and it's like it's progress, not perfection. Like that's their Lent theme. And I'm like, yes, but the idea is that you are progressing towards perfection, and I
Right,
think
we
that
should.
they missed that part a little bit.
Right, and I think like one of the things with that is like, do you have a plan to grow in virtue? Right? If so, what is your plan? How are you going to like, where are the areas you're struggling with, and like, what's the plan to overcome them? For a lot of people, right? I know myself like was included in this for a long time, and it's still something like I'm having to figure out. It's like the question of like, well, I'll just pray it. I'll like it's like the concept like pray the gay away, or like I'll pray my sins away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, not to say that being gay is a sin, right?
But
There's
like whatever, like it's just the one that rolls off the tongue easily.
yeah.
But like yeah, it's I'll pray about it, and that will fix my problems, and that's all I have to do.
Yeah, and like I remember hearing from some guys like throughout college and stuff like that of like struggling with like particular sins and them being like, oh, well, I did a Marian consecration that helped me get over this sin. Or I did like I started praying a rosary every day and it helped me overcome this. And I did this and I did and it's like that's great. Um but the Lord pours out his grace in different measures, right? And it's about our cooperation with his grace.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the number one priority has to be like, is my spiritual life great? Because like 9 times out of 10, when I like work with these young high school guys or young college guys at this point, and they're like describing various issues that they might be struggling with and things like that, I'm just like, okay, what's your prayer life like? And they're like, oh, well, I'm not praying right now. I was like, well, okay,
Well, dingus.
yeah, it's like, okay, well, here's the first thing we're gonna do. You're gonna start waking up 15 to 20 minutes earlier, and for the first 15 minutes of your day, you're gonna read the daily readings and meditate on them. Come back to me in 2 weeks. Tell me how that's going. Right? And
You
they're
sound
like,
like
oh,
a shrink. All right, we're gonna, or Doc. All right, take take a week's worth of daily readings. Throw a couple rosaries in there, and see me next week, and we'll talk about it.
Well, but here's the funny part: is they come back to me, whether it's a week or 2 weeks later, and they're like, "Josh, I'm finding so much freedom from like this sin or this vice, or like the intrusive thoughts are happening less." And I go, "Shocker, right?"
For one thing, you're starting your day with prayer, so you're starting your day off on a good foot. Secondly, literally, you're taking time out of your day that you could be doing dumb things or bad things, and you are dedicating it to something good. You are literally decreasing the time that you have to do vice because you are doing good for your body and
Well,
soul.
but it's also just like this idea of like, okay, well, two things. The first thing is in the Catechism, and I'm not quite sure what paragraph, but it's in the section on
If
prayer.
you knew the paragraph, I would say that you're crazy.
I can quote scripture and sometimes the Catechism by paragraph and verse and
Scripture,
chapter.
that's one thing. The catechism. Anyway, continue.
But it talks about, it says like a wise monk once said, so this is assuming a saying from one of the Desert Fathers. A wise monk once said, until you see prayer as the best use of your time, you won't make time for prayer.
It's true.
And then the second thing is, this comes from Teresa of Avila, also quoted in the Catechism, right? It says, like, unless we have scheduled times of prayer, we cannot pray at all times.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, okay, right, you want to have this vibrant relationship with the Lord. Do you have scheduled times to be with him? Right. The same way, like, I have to schedule times to hang out with you or Megan or like anyone, like, right. If I don't make time for that, then there's not a relationship.
Exactly. And one of the things that we've been really trying to push at, like at St. John's, has been like we have adoration on Tuesdays, and we've added to Thursday for Lent as well. But we're like, the way that we're telling it to people is like, look, don't try to fit the Lord into your schedule. Fit your schedule around your prayer time. It's like with any friend. There's nothing that hurts more than being like, how can I fit you into my schedule? You feel like you're being a burden on that person if it's phrased like that. But if you're like, hey, I want to make time for you. When are you free? I want to make my time around you.
Well, and sometimes it is just like right, I'm meeting with anywhere from like 12 to 20 students a week. And I'm like, I have to use that, like, here's a link to my Calendly, find a time, schedule it.
It's different in a professional-ish setting like that. Like that's different. But I'm talking about like in a friendship relationship. Like you and I don't say, like, we try to, like, I think we both do a good job of phrasing it in a way, not like I'm fitting you into my schedule. It's I want
Hey,
to make sure I have
what are you doing
time.
this week? I want to hang out.
Yes, like we're trying to plan our schedule around you as best we can. And I think that's an important thing for our prayer lives as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, prayer should be the first thing, like when you sit down, like, and figure out what your schedule looks like, whether it's like the week, the month, 6 months, right? When you're trying to figure out your daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you should be putting in is when am I going to pray? And then everything else, right? Right. It's like that analogy of like, have you ever seen the thing? I can't remember if Jordan Peterson does it, but I feel like it's him. Like the thing of like the bottle and like how you fill the bottle.
It's not him, I don't think, but I know what
It
I've
gives
seen.
off big Jordan Peterson vibes.
This is something we talked. I learned this in like 7th grade, but yeah, it's like how, like, all right, if I fill it up with
Sand.
like I fill up with sand first, and then I fill up with like the small rocks. There's no room for the big rocks and all that. But if you put the big stuff in first, and then the smaller things, and then you give it a little shake, and then you add the sand, everything, you can fit everything in the bottle because.
And then you can put a beer on top.
But
Speaking
yeah,
of beer.
but yeah, so the whole point of it is make sure, get the important things into your schedule first. The rest will fill in.
Yeah, so that's our diatribe on how things are going. Lent.
Our usual 15 minutes of
how's your
biology.
Lent going, by the way?
Overall, it's pretty good. I've been doing much, like I said, I've been much more strict about the gym. And even the thing I've been adding in is, even outside, even if I'm not feeling like well enough to go to the gym, I've been adding like flexibility and mobility stuff every day, just trying to physically get my body into a place I'm like I feel better about myself. And then I've been using that time like it's like I'm trying to perfect each aspect of myself, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Reading, I've been listening to my Tom Selleck autobiography. Plus, I've been just watching a bunch of Fat Electrician videos, so I'm learning about all of the weird things that have happened in our great history of our country. And then spiritually, I have been doing a lot better. I've been reading. I have two devotional is not the right word for it. They're like spiritual books.
Spiritual reading.
Yeah, one's like a look at life from a deer stand. So it's a non-denominational one, but it's got some good stuff in there that I enjoy. It's about connecting with God in nature that I really like. And then I've just been doing a lot more of the daily readings as well. And I've actually also been praying with the stations. I've been leading stations at work. That was not something I plan on doing, but it's
so beautiful.
We have like 4 different versions and we kind of rotate through them, and I've done the same too for the past like 2 weeks because it was my time to read them. And I'm in there, I'm in an alb, and I'm walking the stations with everyone, and there's usually there's maybe 10 people there. But the fervency that these people are reading, like following along with it, I'm reading, and as I'm walking through the church going to each station, it's intense. It really empowers my Lent. This is something I'm going to add next year. I think I'm going to add in like praying the stations more regularly because I don't know if I think I want to do it like twice a week next year. I think I want to do more than just the once a week that I've been doing.
Okay. The stations is just like, I don't know if you had that culture growing up, like in your family, but that was something I remember doing a couple times a Lent with my family. Like for sure on Good Friday. Right?
That was our thing. I think we just did Good Friday. If I'm wrong, Mom, sorry, I don't remember. The stations. We're doing it's like the biblical. It's like the scriptural one from JP2, the Little Brown Book kind of thing. They're good.
Yep. So, all right, beer.
So let's talk beer fest, and we'll go into beer.
Yeah. So this would have been almost a month ago. On my birthday. So we might be a little hazy, but we were planning on going to the Lansing Bourbon Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out. Ticket prices were like $80.
And it started super late, which was the other thing. It's like, I'm going to have to like drive 2 hours up to you, probably 2.5 hours, realistically, drink 10 things of bourbon and then drive home. Probably just leaving out been good.
Like 10 tokens did not equate 10 drinks.
Yeah, because some of them were rated differently.
Had a different token value. There was no drink that was a single token,
which is stupid.
So I think like the minimum price was like 3 tokens for a drink.
Well, that's dumb.
Yeah,
but so we ended up going to the Southern Michigan Winter Beer Fest again. We went last year. We went again this year. This time we went with Miriam was there with us last year.
Yep. So
shut up.
I mean,
sorry, my Alexa.
You mean your bird?
No. This is the one that I purchased. My Amanda.
You put Alexa downstairs now?
I've had it down there.
The government drone is listening for you.
It's always listening. It gets to hear me yell when I'm in Tarkov. I'm just flooding their servers with that. But anyway,
last year it was.
I think it was just the 3 of us
and myself. Yeah.
Yep.
And so this year, Brendan came with us
as our designated driver,
as our DD.
I think it's cool that they have the DD token. It's like what, $10? You get to hang out with everyone for the day, and they are trying to prioritize safety.
I wish they did have something in the way of like
a Gatorade
or non-alcoholic things, right? Whether it's like
because they had some non-alcoholic options, but he couldn't.
Yeah, but I was even thinking like, oh, they could do like homemade root beers, homemade colas.
Yeah,
because a lot of those places also do specialize in them, right? Like New Holland, which wasn't there this year, does have like non-alcoholic sodas and pops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then Megan also came with us this year.
Megan also came, which was great. So it was the 5 of us.
I think I had a lot more variety this year over as far as types of drinks. Because as
far as types of drinks, I felt like the beers were lackluster compared to last year.
There was a lot more mass market, I feel. Last year I felt there were a lot more smaller breweries. This year there was a lot more of like, hey, this is stuff that you can just get at any Kroger or liquor store. Um,
Which is, I mean, not bad, right? Sometimes you want to try something before you go and you commit to like
a 12
spending
pack or
12 bucks.
whatever.
Yeah.
But like there were a couple there were a couple of wineries this year. Last year there was only the one. I think I saw two or three. And then there was the place that did. There were like two places that did mead, which I appreciated because I finally got to like
Yeah,
try a
it was
couple.
the cocktail place.
I don't think I had anything from there.
I didn't either. But
So for
yeah,
reference, we should probably like when you go in, you get a tick, you have wristband, you get 10 tokens, and everything there, every drink there is a token. They give you a little shot glass. It's probably like what, 3 ounces, 4 ounces.
yeah, it's a tasting glass. It's maybe 4 ounces.
Yeah, and you just go like you give them a token, they fill it up for you, and then it's basically just like a big warehouse with a bunch of people on the outside and the little table in the middle of everyone people, and you just go up and you get drinks. And then every half hour to an hour, they would have like a specialty release where like a brew like, oh wait, we only brought like 2 kegs of this one beer, try it out. So we went to I think we went to 2 of those we got 2 of those this time.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, that was fun. The live music was interesting, right?
The dueling pianos.
Yeah, me vibing to the U of M fight song, not knowing that it was the U of M fight song.
That was really funny. Like, Josh?
It was kind of a bop. It was kind of a banger.
Look, the fact that they have the Michigan State fight song is a banger also, but only if you know the words, and you only know the words if you went to Michigan State or if you have family that went to Michigan State. Everyone knows Hail to the Victors.
Yeah. And so, you know, both me and Miriam are over there vibing, and you and Megan are just shaking your heads at us.
Disappointed.
Yeah, and then there was the squatting down and having the woman join us in squatting down, and I just took a knee.
Yeah. That's the thing that's fun about the beer fest is you get to just chat. Like, we didn't talk to a lot of people that we didn't know, but there was a lot of people like, you know, we would just have a quick conversation with. We're waiting in line. The one lady came up to Miriam and asked her about her pants, where she got them from, and complimented her earrings. Like, it's like with most things where a lot of alcohol is involved, people loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, and so so it was fun. It's definitely cramped in there.
Yeah, they need more seating.
They need more seating. They just need a bigger venue, and I know there's one in Jackson.
They probably have a agreement with the county fairgrounds. That's my guess.
Well, it probably actually has to do with who can have liquor on the premises.
True. There's 1,001 things why it could be. They had a bunch of food trucks. I don't think we got anything from the food trucks this year.
No, last year we got food from the food trucks, like the barbecue, and that was pretty good.
It's pretty good, but it's it's food truck barbecue, so it's a little overpriced for the amount you get.
Yeah.
So we went to Texas Roadhouse this year.
Yeah, which was great. But no, overall, like, good little birthday celebration. I'm obviously a terrible friend for not texting you, Brendan, and Miriam back when I was literally going to see you the next day.
Sorry, we texted you like at a like late morning on your actual birthday. Happy birthday, and you give us nothing in return, and you see no issue with like, oh, I'm gonna see you the next day. Not even a thanks, not even a thumbs up or nothing. You just read, and it wasn't even like he didn't like he left us on red for a happy birthday text, which I think is criminal.
I mean, I still have to call my grandmother and tell her thank you for the card. So
I'm just looking at the date. I'm like, wow, you really don't care about being in the will.
I mean, listen, life is crazy.
Yeah, life moves pretty fast, but not so fast you can't say thanks.
Well, okay, so here's the problem, right? If I call my grandmother in the morning, I don't know if she's up yet or not because, different time zones. And I'm not going to call her when I get off of work at midnight.
You have 2 days off a week. It's been 3 weeks since there.
Yeah, one of those days is spent with my girlfriend, and the other day is spent disassociating.
Anyway, back to the beer fest and why we like beer in general. I did have a couple of decent like the meat I tried was interesting. Um,
Yeah, the meads
Night
were good.
Nightmare Fuel was good as you as last year.
For those of you who have not partaken in the Southern Michigan Winter Beer Festival, Nightmare Fuel is produced by this one brewery called Agma, which is a very interesting brewery.
Based out of
They have
Jackson.
they have some interesting artwork and proclivities.
They pride themselves on being pagan in like a,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's in like an actual sense. It's just more of like a trendy sense. Like we're different.
yeah. And so one of the beers they have is called Nightmare Fuel, and I think it's 19%.
It's up there. Like it's at least 17. It might be higher.
And it's very chocolate, cocoa, like coffee-y, like toasted marshmallows, like
Let's see.
very good.
It's 17% according to Untapped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's one of the it's one of their limited releases that they do. It's like during the day. It's good. I genuinely enjoyed that one.
I definitely think Agma is still my favorite brewery that was there.
Yeah, because the Brewery Vermont had one that I wanted to try, and they were out of it. They ran out like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah,
because they're Punchki Stout.
Yeah, that was the one we didn't get to try.
Yeah, they're like
that Grand River.
I thought that was Brewery Vermont, but might have been Grand River. I don't know. There was one that had a Punchki Stout, and I walked up. She's like, they sent us a keg of it. We were gone in 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't know why they would think that's a smart play, but overall, I mean, for what you get, it's not a bad price. Like
it's $40, right?
And that comes with 10 tokens. You can opt to buy more if you're an alcoholic.
I mean, I would say that if we didn't have to drive anywhere and we were going to spend more time there.
Yeah.
But you guys had like a 2-hour drive back. Megan had an hour and a half drive back after a 30-minute drive back to my house.
Yeah, it's location wise is not ideal for us, at least. Sorry about the yawning. It's not it. We're recording at 9 a.m. You know, at that time most people are at work already. But like you know, we had a couple tokens left over, and like we were saying earlier, I was like, well, I don't know what to do with these, so I literally just stacked them. I collect dollars, stacked them on the water cooler because you have like a little rinse out for between like cooler between each one, and like 30 seconds, swarmed, gone.
Well, see, what I did is I went up to go get one last drink, and as I'm getting the drink, the guy is going, "Oh man, where's my tokens?" And I just handed him mine. I was like, "Here you go. I'm done with these." It's like, oh, okay.
And it's like like everyone's. I don't think anyone there is having a bad time. That's the other thing. Like no. Everyone's like, even if you're not there to drink, like we were a couple of designated drivers. We had one with us. You just get to hang out with people, have something to drink. I think the thing I like about beer over other alcoholic beverages, I feel like it's much more of a social just thing. Like, hey, like there's a reason you say, hey, we want to go grab a couple of beers.
Yeah, whiskey and scotch are more contemplative.
Yeah, and you have one or two of those, like, because it's a long time. Like, you know, I've become a fan of Busch Light because you know I'm very white. But like I can have like 3 of those.
When are you moving to Iowa? When are you moving to Iowa?
My family's from Iowa, so like you know the nectar of the cobs flows through me.
So you know Busch Light is the #1 selling beer in the state of Iowa, right?
Yes. They drink more Busch Light than the rest of the country, I'm pretty sure. But like you know, I like any light beer. I can drink 3 or 4 of them. I'm fine. Like I don't feel anything with it. But I think the other thing that I like about beer is there's so much variety. There is something for everyone.
Right. You can get anything from like a very dark, chocolatey, coffee-esque, like smoky almost
porter and stout.
Yeah. It's like a very light, hoppy beer, something like an IPA and stuff like that. And there's so
sour, like there's such a variety of everything,
flavors and things like that, right? But like, I'm not saying all whiskeys are the same.
but there's a certain baseline that most whiskeys kind of follow.
Corn whiskey tastes like corn whiskey.
Yes. But beer, you have a lot more variance with it.
Yeah, because unless you're doing something like with how you're barreling it and with how you're like finishing the product, it's going to taste like a corn whiskey.
Scotch is Scotch.
There's only so much you can do with the mash bill.
Yeah.
Right? With like, okay, I'm going to make a corn whiskey that's 51% corn and like this much wheat and this much rye and like put some barley in there. It's like okay, it's fermented grains that are then distilled. And with like beers, it's like, oh, we're gonna infuse fruit flavors into this, and you have that with some whiskeys. But it's like, oh yeah,
it's usually much more subtle in the whiskey because you have such that very predominant, whiskey flavor that just kind of, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Again, we're not knocking whiskey; we both love it. It's just that there's a very standard baseline, and then you have your variances depending on like quality and stuff like that. But with beer, and the other thing I like about beer, like last summer we made like I made beer at home, like, and that was a lot of fun. I come from a long line of beer makers. My grandpa and my dad and his brothers, they made beer at home all the time. That was usually for Christmas, because my family would make, like my parents would make Christmas gifts. They do like a Secret Santa, they'd make them. Someone would be like, all right, I'm just going to make beer and I got a guy. Oh, I'll just make beer and give it to him. But you have a lot of variety with that. Like it's something you can do at home very easily.
Well, and like I think like, while not a beer, like mead is one of those things that it's very easy, like
the barrier to entry is very, very low.
Yeah, which is something that like I'm looking at getting like a 50-pound thing of honey, like $100 and making a bunch of mead this year.
Very nice.
And I want to figure out how to like then ship it home to Texas and give that away for Christmas presents, and
that'd be really cool. Yeah. And making beer was like, it was fun because I made it myself, and then my dad he came down and showed me how to do like the bottling and everything, and I just made an American ale. It was fine. It was definitely more work than going to the store and getting a pack of Busch Light or Miller Lite or whatever, and they probably tasted better. But it was kind of fun. It was like, all right, I've done it once, now I can start like experimenting with it, like trying to figure things out. So I'll probably I'm thinking this summer I'll probably try to make another batch. We'll see.
Let me know when you do.
Try to make something a little bit more to my
palate.
Know what you
do. When you do, I've got some people I know in the industry. There's a really interesting, like, I think it's called Austin Brewing Supply, ABS. And they will, like, you tell them, like, hey, I want to make, like, a copy of this beer. And they will send you all of the grains for the mash bill, the yeast that is used, right?
Okay. I think there's right? Yeah, I think there's a couple of shops in Monroe, or Dundee, I think was one that we saw, has like a brewing supply shop. And I think that's like another thing, like that's a testament to it. Like, unless you live in one of the few states that have dry counties still, like, it's like beer is a part of American culture, and they make it very accessible. Outside of just buying it at the store, they like it's something our grandfathers used to do, and it's super easy to do.
Well, and I mean, it's hard to say that beer is an American drink, right? We really owe it to the Mesopotamians. But
we owe it to the Germans. Let's be clear; they're the ones who figured out how to make it cold.
No. So my favorite thing that I think I learned in all of my history classes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Was the way my teacher talked about the discovery of alcohol.
Okay.
And this idea that this Assyrian Babylonian man named probably, they're all named It's like Bob. Everybody's named Bob or Bill.
John. It's John. Their John.
It's their John. Right. So he goes to check his grain silo, and he notices in one of the clay pots that there's water in the pot, and he's like, "No, my grain." And like the question is, what possessed him to then take a ladle
It was
and scoop it out?
It was
and
probably
take
the
a
middle
drink
of the
from it?
Mesopotamian dry season, and he was thirsty.
Yeah, and then he goes, it's
I
sterile, and I like the
feel
taste of it.
exceptionally confident now.
He's like, that's sterile, and I like the taste of it.
It just makes me think of the Shane Gillis SNL skit.
Yeah.
Couple of beers.
Couple of beers.
What's the matter? It's just a couple of beers. I just feel way more confident now and chill.
Right, but then it's like it evolves into this thing of like the Mesopotamians were the one who invented the punch bowl, because the Mesopotamians would get these giant clay jugs, fill them with grain, water, let them ferment, and they had these massive straws that they would all stick in and drink.
I've never heard this.
Yes, and so they made beer punch.
Interesting. And then, like all things, the English adopted it and said, "This is ours now, and we're the ones who are going to make it famous." But I mean, yeah, like, and I think if you look at when you're kind of talking about like American styles of beer, we basically have the German lager, which is 80% of what we drink, and then we have like the other 20% is like various ales and porters, because most of us have Germanic history, and they're the ones who really made beer popular in America. So most of it's just a variation of a German lager.
Well, and like, did you have that experience of drinking beer while we were in Austria?
I had some of the beer from the Kartause, yeah.
Room temperature beer is not bad.
No, it's not.
Like, I'm not talking warm beer.
Cellar temperature.
Warm beer and room temperature beer. I'm like talking, and when I say room temperature, I mean like 60 degrees.
Yeah, like 50 to 60 degrees is cellar temperature. That's the proper temperature for most beers to be drank. Now, again, Busch Light, I want that ice cold, and I want that to make me think about summertime. For any beer that is not just a mass-produced light beer, if it's too cold, you can't taste all the flavors.
Yep.
Yeah. So when they're all talking about like, oh, it's like Coors Light, it's bottled, it's made, bottled, and shipped cold, and like all these things, like, yeah, because they don't want you to taste. If you could taste everything, you'd realize it's not that good a beer. Yeah. This coming from someone who drinks Coors Light.
Yeah, but like it's like the idea of like an ice cold beer. I was like, you don't actually want that.
Yeah, it deadens the palate too much.
Yeah.
So like, what would you say are like your top, like in no particular, top 3 beers that like your go-to beers? They could be like the mass-produced kind. They could be a weird specialty brew. Like top 3 beers that have made like an impression on you.
Nightmare Fuel.
Okay.
So 17% alcohol, produced by Agma Brewing. Very good. I would say the next one is in a similar vein. It's called the Rootin' Tootin' Putin. Well, that's what it was originally called. And then the war in the Ukraine happened, and then the brewery changed the name to the Puck Futin. That's literally what they changed it to.
I love it.
Bold Republic Brewing. And so it was a 13 or 14% Russian Imperial Ale that they then changed to a Ukrainian Imperial Ale because they were like, we're importing all of our things for this from the Ukraine now. I would say anything from Bold Republic Brewing down in like Belton, Texas. I think they're in Temple now. They made a beer a few years ago. It was a Hellesbach called the Captain Jack.
Okay.
And it was named after her dad who died in the Gulf War. And so all of the proceeds from that beer go back to the Gulf War Memorial.
Okay.
Supporting veterans who like either were injured or their families who died in the Gulf War. But I would say that's not one of the beers that made an impression on me. I would say the third beer that made an impression on me is just Shiner Bock.
You stole mine.
Yeah, that's like always gonna be in my fridge. Ain't nothing finer than a can of Shiner. But yeah, there's so many good beers that just exist out in the world that I think like the American palate of Busch Lights, Miller Lights, Bud Lights, Budweisers are just They lack refinement.
Yeah, and I would liken it to it's a good filler beer. Like if I want just like, hey, I want something cold in the summertime, like that's our reach. Now, I say that as someone who has like a 30 pack in their fridge right now because I can get it for cheap at Costco. But like it's like I don't want like if I just want to like have a couple of drinks, that's my like Busch Light is my go-to right now. It used to be Miller Lite, it's currently, and then it was Coors Light, it's currently Busch Light. It might change, who knows.
The quality just is going down, man. It's like
say what you want. I love that they do like these collector's cans, like they gotta catch them all because I have 3 out of the 4 cans. I'm just trying to find the last one.
I'm sitting here going, yeah, I remember when Andrew was like, you know, craft cocktails, gin and tonics.
I still drink those
martinis. Okay, now he's drinking Miller Lite, which is not bad. I enjoy Miller Lite. And then he went to Coors Light. And now he's at Busch Light. And the next thing you're gonna tell me is you're like, yeah, I started importing this beer from Texas called Lone Star, and I'm just gonna be like, dude, what are you doing with your life?
No, PBR is clearly the next stop on the list.
Are you kidding me? PBR is great.
I can't stand PBR. Yeah, Shiner is one of the best beers I've ever had. Like, I don't think I've ever had a bad Shiner flavor. I will say the peach wheat I think is my favorite. I do like the OG, but I'm a suck. Like, I love the flavor of peach just in general. So I was like, peach wheat.
You had the OG Shiner.
I've had the OG. We had it when we went to the brewery.
I was gonna say Shiner Bock is not the OG. Shiner Premium.
Yeah, they had Shiner Premium there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Shiner Bock is like is obviously the main one that I've had. But the peach wheat and the shandies are both, and the shandy are good. Nar, it's a Nar Hipper, whatever it was, the one we had from Agma. That one.
So what is that one?
That one's a sour, ish. I don't even know. I don't think they even classified it as a sour. It had this fantastic raspberry flavor to it. I will say, like, aside from like the basic beers, I do like fruit flavored Goses, sours. Those are my favorites. Which is weird because like my second favorite is the porters and the stouts. So like just opposite ends of the spectrum.
I feel like the opposite end of the spectrum from the porter and the stout is the IPAs. But go on.
Yeah, you can. I guess there's maybe not a linear spectrum, maybe more like a triangle or one of those the square graphs. Everything is a spectrum, Andrew. I'm on it.
Everyone's on it.
But yeah, like when I had like Guinness, I had like one of the Nitro Guinnesses at the Guinness factory, and that was like, and we got to enjoy it. Like they're like, look, you can either print something on your Guinness, or you can have it up in like the top of the tower that they have there. I was like, yeah, we're drinking at the top of the tower and looking over all of the city. It was really awesome.
Jealous. Definitely on my bucket list.
It was cool. It was very cool. And that's the other thing I like. I think the fact that breweries are so like beer is such like an integral part of like adult American culture that like you could go to like, this is alcohol in general, like going to a brewery and having a beer there and like seeing how everything's made, like that's just such a typical guy thing to want to do. And I think that's just like, and it's not like the process is that different at each one as far as like at the base of it, they're making beer. But how each one has their own little proclivities and the way that they do things, and like this is a tradition that we do. You know, the founder did it this way, so we do it to this day, even if it's slightly less efficient. Like this,
it's like the Shiner is like we have a strain of yeast that no longer exists that is held in a vault. And it's like what?
Yeah, like how it has like certain place like has to be made with this with this water because there's a certain mineral content that makes the beer just taste a little bit better. Like it's stuff like that, like the cool niche, and it's the history of it. I think that really gets guys like into beer. Like the gateway is, oh, I like drinking beer, it tastes good, but like you become a beer guy when you're like when you know the history of your favorite brewery, like Brewery Avant. It's like an old monastery that is like they do brewery at, like cool stuff like that. I'm like, this is what I came here for.
Yep. So what's the time at?
We're at like 55 minutes, so we're
Okay, we can put it up.
Yeah, we spend the first half talking about Lent again. But yeah, so like this, we're trying, like we said, we're trying to do more things. So we went to the beer fest. And like it's our second year going. We'll probably go again next year. We'll go to the summer one, but it's a lot of fun. Just going out.
When's the summer one?
That is a great question.
Give me it, monitor boy. Hey, Oracle, can you look up this information for me?
It's Otakon. The Summerfest is in July.
In Jackson?
No, there's a couple different ones. I think the Jackson one is only winter. But there's one, the 26th annual Michigan Summer Beer Fest is in like the end of July, and it doesn't tell me where it is. Ypsi. So I don't know if they're affiliated with the Winter Beer Fest or what, but the summer one is in end of July, so we might go there. Probably won't do an episode on it because we just did one, but it's a fun, like, if you can go to a beer fest or a brewery or something like that, like, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to get in touch with your drinks in a different way.
Yeah, touch your drinks. Please tell me you were actually drinking Busch Light at 10:19 in the morning.
Like I said in the cold open, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Is that protein in that shaker?
No, it's Gatorade powder and creatine.
No, it's powdered whiskey.
It's blue powdered whiskey.
Imagine the day when that exists.
I mean, they finally made like fruit flavored protein, like clear, like it's like that clear fruit flavored protein powder. It's like 15-20 grams. So it's not as much as like your regular stuff, but it's still, I've kind of wanted to try it. We're getting off topic though. We'll start wrapping things up. So our challenge for you, go do something as usual. Do something social.
Go be with people.
Go be with people. Do something social. Find out more about something. Find out more about the thing that you like. So if it's beer, go find out about the brewery and how that particular brewery makes their beer. Something like that.
Text your friends back on your birthday.
Yeah, don't be a crappy friend.
That way they're not salty when you try to call them and figure out what's the plan.
Sorry, we just wanted to make sure that you actually got our text and you weren't dead.
Nobody thought to text me back and be like, "Hey, you okay?"
Well, the fact that you responded in the group chat that later that day about the next day, and you couldn't respond to us individually, that was the cherry on top. But that is our episode. We're gonna leave it on that. That is our episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please throw a comment.
Wait, how are you going deeper, Andrew?
It's Lent. I'm doing the same thing I was doing last episode. I'm killing myself at the gym. I'm reading more, and I'm going deeper in my faith.
Great. Same. Dittos.
Thank you all for listening. Please throw a comment down on whatever listening platform you're using with what your favorite beer is, and if you don't drink beer, why don't you like beer? That's our engagement feed.
Why don't you like beer?
That's our engagement.
Couple reasons. Reason number 1. Reason number 2.
All right, Eli. With that, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you later. Thank you.
I have been the fat theologian.
And I am the Punchki specialist.
Punchki specialist.
Please don't sue us, unsubscribe. We're just big fans.
Please don't sue us.
All right.
Disclaimer: we're not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with Pepperbox TV.
Unsubscribe, Bunker Branding, any of them. Yet.
No.
With everyone, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.